Good morning, Abians and non-Abians watching. This is Good Morning Abia, your one-stop breakfast program from MCL Television. I am Cynthia Echeme. I am welcoming you to this breakfast program where we keep you company over your breakfast. We keep you company by telling you what's making rounds in the news. But first of all, we visit the Marble, where we get ourselves inspired for the day. We get you inspired with quite inspirational quotes that will get you prepared and get your loins guarded and ready for the day's challenges, if any. Afterwards, at Marble, we usually visit the newsstand, where I am the one who is going to be reading out the story this morning on a Saturday edition of our breakfast program, Good Morning Abia. After that, after reading out the news, we take a break and get back. And when we return, we'll be looking at the newspapers on our newspaper review. Remember, on our newspaper review, we take a look at the papers daily. It is really very important that we take a look at the papers daily. You need to be reading your papers so that you'll be well informed on the happenings around the world, especially in your country or even in Abia State. After our newspaper review, we'll take a break but while on that break, we keep you company. We usually keep you company with our documentary, where on that documentary, we are sure you're going to be enjoying it. But I will not tell you the title just yet, just a suspense there. After that, we get back and begin our discussion segment. Our discussion segment this morning, we are still going to be continuing on the topic of yesterday on the bail bond forfeiture by Abaribe as ordered by the court, or he goes to jail. On that discussion, very interesting. We want you to join us at exactly 9 o'clock where we do our discussion. I want you to be telling us what you think about that. All right, let's visit the Marble and find out what's a Marble are going to be telling you and I. Words on Marble this morning. Rabindranath Tagore says, "You can't cross the sea merely by standing and staring at the water." You can't cross the sea merely by standing and staring at the water. You know what that water signifies. You can't cross the sea. You know what sea signifies. Sea could be your challenges in life. Sea could be your aspirations, your daily dreams and aspirations in life. They could stand as the sea. Yes, you cannot cross the sea by merely standing, staring at the water. Staring signifies, symbolizes not inactivity, not doing anything, staying idle. You want to be a doctor. Whatever you want to be in life, you're not doing anything. But each time you are in one discussion or the other with your friends, you tell them you want to rule the world. You want to rule the world. What are you doing about it? Yes, you really have to do something. Have to work towards that, pray towards that, inspire yourself towards that. Even the Bible says it that faith, that you receive your miracle by what you say. Yes, what you say and what you do. So whatever we want to do, even for our own state, Abia, the Abia of our dream that we keep talking about, we don't achieve the Abia of our dreams just on the lips. You have to join hands. All hands must be on deck. You want Abia to be like New York. You out there, you really need to begin to do that. Don't litter the streets with sachet water. Don't litter the street with peels of banana or oranges. Begin to do your own bit towards building the Abia of our dreams. Begin to pay your tithe. Those rich men out there that don't pay their tithe, you are not doing Abia any good. Begin now to pay your tithes. And the skyscrapers you dream will come to Abia State. We don't build skyscrapers with the urine. We build it with taxes. You also have to be a friend to the police. You want to secure Abia State, you want to security tithe Abia, begin to tell the police if you see something. Remember the slogan, if you see something, say something. All right, that is that. Eschew inactivity and begin to do something if you want to cross that sea in your life. All right, let's go straight to the news and find out what it has in store for you and I this morning. On Good Morning Abia package of the news, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has said that the federal government considers the private sector before taking vital decisions on the economy of the country. The Vice President said this on Thursday in Abuja at the launch of the Nigerian Economic Diplomacy Initiative, NEDI, an initiative of the Foreign Affairs Ministry. He also said that the federal government is also committed to ensuring adequate consultation is made, especially with the private sector, before it makes further commitment to some of the international treaties that are important to it, adding that Nigeria was also committed to strengthening economic ties at the official level on issues like technical cooperation, air services, double taxation, investment promotion and protection, citizens' rights, and others. He noted that trade and investment ties between countries were driven in the main by their private sector actor. In the case of Nigeria, the private sector is particularly important because it accounts for well over 90% of Nigeria's GDP. He emphasized that federal government is aware that building a competitive and vibrant national economy of our dream relies on enabling the innovation and dynamism of our private sector operators to flourish. The electoral management bodies from member countries of the Economic Community of West African States and the South African Development Community will, from April 9th, converge in Abuja to discuss ways of improving future elections through the use of technology. In a statement by Mr. Rotimi Oyekami, Chief Press Secretary to the Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, it was revealed that the international conference would bring together experts across all fields, especially the information and communications technology industry, with a view to reducing problems associated with conducting elections across the regions. The statement reads, the international conference will see participants deliberate on several issues associated with the choice and deployment of ICT in elections, with a view to deepening collaboration among electoral management organizations and strengthening the credibility of electoral processes across both regions. The chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, and other notable personalities are expected to engage participants on various key issues that will help improve the way elections are organized across both regions during the conference. The regular weather change in Abia, the metropolitan hub of Abia State, has raised the question why rainfall is often not evenly distributed in the various parts of the city. MCLTV News sampled the opinion of the people on this issue. The report. The sudden and unpredicted change of the weather often disrupts the work plan of individuals in their daily work schedule, be it the farmer who is guided by weather conditions, the businessman, student, or worker who will be affected in unforeseen weather changes. Favorable weather is key to most human endeavors. Familiar aspects of weather include temperature, precipitation, clouds, and wind that people experience throughout the course of a day, which can change in minutes or hours. The activities of man, including the abuse of the ozone layer through the release of dangerous gas from industries and automobiles, are factors contributing to weather change and associated effects. A geographer, Mr. Isiguzo, explains further on the causes and challenges of weather change.
If we are to have a balanced atmosphere, there must be a balance too between the vegetation and the population of animals and man and other things that are on earth. So what is the problem now is that through man's activities, a lot of forests, in many places, a lot of places have been deforested. In Nigeria alone, we have little forests. The whole of the north is mainly sub-savanna, or what I may call savanna woodland. Now, because of human activities, development for schools, development for industry, development for churches, development for so many things, these the vegetations are being removed without replacement. Yet, the same vegetation that is supplying some of the essential oxygen that we need to survive, the same vegetation is being depleted. And so this is causing a lot of havoc on man. So apart from that also, like we all know, a lot of industrial effusions are also contaminating the air. And so the atmosphere is no longer balanced. So the way the atmosphere should be, it's no more like that. The vegetation is depleted, the air is being polluted.
On the need to revive the forestry department of the state, The expert had this to say.
There should be development without destruction. There's disequilibrium in the ecosystem. The forest department is extinct. I keep on saying that anybody can challenge me on that. There is no forestry department. If you go to what they call Market Road, you see them cutting small pieces of wood like this to make wood, depleting all the forest. At Bende, where we used to have the largest concentration of forest in Abia State, it's no more.
In dealing with weather change, both government and individuals need to coordinate their efforts to ensure that weather change does not deteriorate any further by observing the rules and best practices in preserving the ozone layer. High cost of building materials is fast posing a nightmare to prospective house owners and government housing programs. The situation has led to estate developers and citizens to call on relevant stakeholders and policy designers in the building industry to address the concerns of the people on high costs of building materials. The report. Shelter is one of the essential demands of man for protection from harsh weather and danger. This is the reason that materials necessary to achieve this important need of man should be made cheap, durable, and affordable. Against the backdrop, MCN News conducted a market survey on building materials. The survey reveals a major increase in prices of some essential building materials, while others witness slight increase. For instance, a bundle of ABM zinc that was sold 15,000 naira last 2 years now sells for 22,000 naira, while a small type goes for 20 to 21,000 naira as against 15,000 naira previously sold. A bundle of aluminium zinc now goes for 65,000 naira as against 75,000 naira previously sold. A sheet of Cameroon zinc sells for 1,500 naira as against 500 naira previously sold in the period under review. Also, a sheet of asbestos sells for 1,500 naira as against 1,400 naira. A bag of cement now sells for 2,400 naira as against its old price of 2,400 naira. Other building materials such as rods, zinc nails, shovel and roofing planks and wood also witnessed slight increase in their prices. Buyers decry the instability of prices of building materials, which they say has deprived many to own a house of their own.
The thing is increasing rapidly. Even the way the material is increasing is incomparable in short.
Not those ordinary people. They are the people that are in conflict. They are the people building now. Not ordinary man like as we are.
Some materials before I think 2015 to 16. Something like zinc was 15,000, 12,000, because now it's 16,000 to 18,000 or 20,000. You know that there is not every person about such money to buy it.
Speaking on the fluctuation of market price of building materials, traders on building materials called on the federal government to grant licenses for distribution of cement to different dealers, as this will help in reducing the prices of cement.
Here government to cement, away will full license here for you. I got some brand problem. Onye blame week, neighborhood. Onye came, we keep taking the corner, only because we take the honor. Can you like crosser? Because once I will for you, okay, me any have local get.
I have the opportunity now to tell government they should look into the heart of the masses, which the people that is buying this material and their income, and may they help us and make sure that our income will come later so that we can be able to go this.
The vision and aims of the federal government to ensure that every eligible person owns a house will only be realized when building materials are made affordable to the common man on the streets. Chinyere Chibu, MCN News. The lack of waste disposal facilities and the insanitary condition of public conveniences in most major markets in Abia, the commercial nerve center of Abia State, is posing a serious health hazards to business owners and the users of such facilities. MCL TV News visited some markets in Abia to ascertain the availability and cleanliness of public conveniences. The reports.
One of the attributes of a developed urban center is the provision of public utilities that create convenience and other facilities that will assist urban dwellers to cushion the effects of daily stress of bustling and hustling of business activities. Statistics shows that nearly 40% of the world's population lack access to toilet facilities, the dignity as well as e-safety that they provide. The absence of adequate sanitation has a serious impact on health and social development, especially for women. The insanitary condition of public convenience in major markets in the city has become a source of worry to many users. A visit to some markets revealed that most of the public utilities are located in makeshift shanties without modern facilities that befit the markets and the users. An investigation by MCL News reveals that most of the facilities are being managed by individuals on contract basis whose only concern is to collect sanitary fees between 50 and 100 naira from the users before assessing it. Some of the users who spoke to MCL News expressed dismay, not only the money they pay before using the toilet, but the insanitary condition of the facility.
Unit is 10 naira and our toilet is 15 naira. We have some areas that we do clean very well. So people that are really in need of feet. So it's 100 naira that side.
We do pay 20 naira. We are used to it now.
Before we paid 15 naira, but now 100 naira. So it's too cost for us.
National neighbor, Makanda Madambazi toilet. Anyone has 50 naira for toilet. Young one you know, Mamma 20 naira kind Hematan City to Obere Eghan Humbo, Makandana Bena Brany toilets. Habes about top all any price toilets. And daughter to handle for Nazo.
They, however, argued that it is the responsibility of the government to provide accessible sanitary toilet facilities to members of the public.
The state government should at least provide toilet, free toilet here because, as it is now, the market is bad now. Everything is hard in this country. So the money that we make is not even enough for feeding. Not to talk of going to toilet, understand?
If they can build their toilet that will be neat and free of charge, it will be okay.
Speaking on the health implications of using insanitary toilet facilities, a medical practitioner, Dr. Ugochukwu Okoro, said improving access to sanitation is a critical step towards reducing the impact of several diseases contracted from the use of insanitary toilets.
When you are using public toilets, most times those public toilets are not neat at all. They are not. And when you go there and after coming out, what do you expect? Sometimes some people may have urinary tract infection after going to public toilets, what we call UTI. The person will start having frequent urination, pain on urinating. We call it dysuria. And some of them may be urinating blood. Some of them may be having difficulty in urinating. So these are the signs, some of the signs of frequent urinary tract infection. The new rule is that before you go to toilet, you wash your hands. Because you don't know those people you shook hands with. And not only that, where you place hands on before even going to the toilet or going to urinate, you must wash your hands.
It is instructive to note that the provision of healthy and clean toilet facilities in marketplaces will not only enhance the healthy living of the users but will also improve the cleanliness of the environment. Stella Wonder, MCL News.
The Abia State Commissioner for Police, Anthony Ubizi, has displayed over 1,000 arms and ammunition recovered from hoodlums. CP Ubizi said the recovery followed directives by the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris. Nora Okafor reports that the Commissioner of Police also paraded some suspects whose crimes range from murder, kidnap, and armed robbery. The report.
The Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, had in February this year ordered the commissioners of police across the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory and their supervising Assistant Inspectors General of Police of the 12 zonal commands in the country the disarmament and recovery of prohibited firearms and ammunition. IG Idris directed that all weapons in the possession of all suspected militias, bandits, vigilante groups, neighborhood watch, and other groups or individuals or bodies bearing prohibited firearms and ammunition, illegal weapons and lethal devices, whether locally fabricated, modified or otherwise fashioned to kill, or that can cause harm or injury to persons, or that can cause panic, fear, apprehension, security breach, breach of peace, or that can cause threats to law and order anywhere in the country must be recovered. The statement urged members of the public, individuals and groups involved in security matters that are in possession of the listed weapons and ammunition to within 21 days from Thursday, February 22nd, to surrender them to the Commissioner of Police in their respective states. At the display of the arms and ammunition at the Central Police Station, Omaha, Commissioner of Police Anthony Obizi said the arms and ammunition were recovered from hoodlums over a period of time. He said no member of the public has voluntarily surrendered any arms to them, but insists that the Abia Police Command will continue to mop up arms in Abia.
We are showing the public, Nigerians, what the police have so far recovered, the arms that the police have recovered, and the exercise is ongoing. We'll continue to mop up arms.
CP Obizi also paraded suspects whose crimes range from murder, kidnapping, and armed robbery. He reiterated the commitment of the police in Abia to ensure a safer Abia where business can thrive.
And the exercise also of getting rid of hoodlums, particularly violent criminals in Abia State, will continue to be intensified. In fact, the ease with which we arrest them show that the strategies we put in place is working. And I will also thank you, the press, and thank the Abia for the cooperation so far given to us. And we appeal, we solicit your continued cooperation so that together we can make Abia safe and secure for every one of us.
While some of the suspects paraded confessed to the crime, others pleaded not guilty. Nora Okafor, MCL News.
And that's the sounds of our Good Morning Abia package of the news. We'll take a break, and when we get back, Good Morning Abia continues with our newspaper review. Do stay with us.
One-stop breakfast show on TV.
What is that noise?
It is a quake.
What did they happen?
Yeah, now they're gonna go.
Okay, so
time to rebuild Abia. I urge you to set aside our differences so that together we can join hands and build the Abia of our dreams. Remember that my word is my bond.
Good morning, Abia, your one-stop breakfast show on TV.
You're welcome back. In case you are just joining us, this is Good Morning Abia, the Saturday edition of our breakfast program where we get you in the know of the happenings around you. And that we usually do begin with our words on marble, after which we took the papers, and now we are taking you around the newspaper review where we'll be looking at what the paper will be telling us this morning. And this morning on Daily Sun, which we're starting with, we have on the top right, defend democracy, Wikitel's Labour leaders, flags off Nupeng's International Tanker Park. And that's on page 54 to grab all the story. Of course, there is the face of a River State #1 citizen, Yesom Wike. And leaving that, we see a Kachi headline, crisis hits Ohaneze Youth Wing passes vote of no confidence on Nwodo. Gives him 7 days to appear before disciplinary panel. And as on page 53, Youth Wing passes vote of no confidence on Nwodo. Crisis hits Ohaneze. Please capture that story, find out what is actually happening to Ohaneze Ndibo on page 53 for more of that. And stepping down, we are seeing Kiki O'Malley, actress. Why I dumped medicine for acting. Get to know why she had dumped her profession, her number one profession for acting. That's on page 19 to get the rest of the gist. And by the side there you see former governor of Abia State, Dr. Ojuzo Carlos, second left, Oni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Eniton Ogunwusi, second right, flanked by Rear Admiral Akin Ado, retired from former chairman of Ecobank, Chief John Odeyemi, during Carlos P's advocacy visit to the monarch in Ile-Ife, Osun State on Friday. All right, that's the story there. And that takes us to next. 40 IPOB members missing after clash with security agents. We have only 4 persons in our custody, the police is saying. Continue that story. What really happened? Which clash and where? Excuse me. Please capture that on page 52. Orange Drugs Bars Ezenna Bags Future Award. Orange Drugs Bars Ezenna Bags Future Award. Please, that story on page 21. Dead from hell, man kills only son to marry second wife. Please, this is very saddening. Go to pages 4 and 5 and unravel the rest of the story. Find out what happened. The rest of the whys you get from 4 and 5. All right, and that takes us to the back page. On the back page of the Saturday Sun. The Saturday Sun back page, we are meeting Kate Halliman Saturday. Compromises women shouldn't make in relationship. Okay, compromises women shouldn't make in relationships. All right, what are the compromises you think women shouldn't make in relationships? Go to page 55. And Amaka's diary, how men give off signs they are unfaithful. I want to unravel, get to know, decode the signals to know when your man is unfaithful. What are the signs you are wont to see? Go to page 15 and get them there from Amaka's diary. And the next, the reality, my party is better than yours. My party is better than yours. Who is saying this reality? Go to page 55 and get the rest of the who's there. And with that, we go to Mike Awoyifa's press clips. Woman between Bill Gates and Dangote. Woman between Bill Gates and Dangote. All right, Bill Gates and Dangote there. You see Bill Gates there of the U.S., United States citizen. Bill Gates and Dangote. And the next is Dr. Myro Mandara and Awoyifa. Okay, I'll urge us all to read the back page of the Saturday Sun and get to know and get to find out the rest of the gist and the story. Woman between Bill Gates and Dangote. A very interesting one if you ask me. All right, and that does it for our Saturday Sound this morning. Let's go straight to the next paper, which happens to be the Saturday edition of The Nation, as we continue to pray for Nigeria. On the top left, we have Kalu predicts Igbo presidency in 2023. Kalu predicts Igbo presidency in 2023. And that's the face of the former governor of Abia State, Ojuzo Kalu there. And okay, capture the story on page 39. Oyegu, that's the face of Oyegu, the current APC national chairman. APC next meeting, National Executive Council meeting, governors move to stop plots to use chairman against Buhari. Okay, APC NEC meeting. On APC NEC meeting, governors move to stop plot to use chairman against Buhari. And the Bana Oyegu NWC National Working Committee members in fresh dilemma in fresh dilemma as technical panel puts final nail on tenure elongation. All right. Get the rest of that story on pages 4 and 5 of the Saturday edition of The Nation. And that takes us to the a culture headline. 2019, how Rivers people would chase Wike out of power. Amechi. How Rivers people would chase Wike out of power. This is coming from Amechi, the former governor. All right. Peter said he is running a failed government. I am a man of substance with awards all over the world, says Rivers Governor Nyesom Wike. All right, I'll go to page 41. This is a very interesting one. Go there and finish the rest of the story. And when we step down a bit, we are meeting Leah's absence, the face of Leah Sharibu. Leah's absence, a blow to our church, says Pastor. Mother withdraws abducted girl's younger brother from school. Says Leah's ambition is to become a nurse and save lives. Please, our story on Leah. They still missing Leah, being taken captive by Boko Haram members because she insists on being a Christian. Please capture that story on page 4. And that takes us to, you see a very colorful picture element. Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State during the groundbreaking of Nupeng's ultra-modern tanker park at Ijama in Eleme local government area of Rivers State, and this took place yesterday. Herdsmen attacks. Police recover 10 bodies in Benue communities. Page 38. Go there and finish the story. Police arrest 4 IPOB members. Recover flags, motorcycles, 4 other items from them. That story is on page 41, and that takes us to the back page of the Saturday edition of The Nation to meet inside The Nation, Tunji Adegboyega, and I'll read. This year, however, not many people knew when the examination was held, apart from those directly concerned. The reason is because of the way and the manner the examination was conducted this time around. Without doubt, the organization of this year's UTME is better than that of last year's. This is coming from Tunji Adegboyega inside The Nation, the back page of the Saturday edition of The Nation, and that takes us to the next. Buhari, Asiwaju, and 10th Bola Tinubu colloquial. Guest writer, and the guest writer this morning, Tunde Rahman. And with it comes the face of Tinubu there. I'll urge us to read this Buhari, Asiwaju, and 10th Bola Tinubu colloquium. All right. And that takes us down as we meet Ade Ojekere on Saturday. And Ade Ojekere this morning writes on Kanu for president. Yes, no. Okay, and I'll read out a little bit of that already given us. Can you imagine these Sports Ministry and NOC chiefs being angry that Okagbare wasn't going to defend her title? These officials' lack of care for our athletes is phenomenal. Former Delta State Governor Emmanuel Duaram virtually on the road to Okabare's bills since she was discovered from the state's grassroots programs. Uduaram has left government and Okabare is on her own. All right. Please continue this story. It's for millions of sports lovers there. Continue the story on page 45. That does it for the Saturday edition of The Nation. Let's go to the last, but not the least, and that is the Saturday edition of the Saturday. That's the Saturday Telegraph. The Saturday Telegraph from IDP camp. That's on the top left. From IDP camp, internally displaced persons camp, to Uniben. The story of Boko Haram survivors. Continue the story on pages 39 and 42. And we see the two picture elements of 2 young men. Philomena, okay, and Bogila. Okay, and that's on the top right. Death in police cell. They denied my brother food, water, and bail for 3 days. Sibling. Says squabble with DPO's son led to his arrest and detention. All right, I'll capture the story on page 4. All right, and that takes us down. Down we are meeting Offa Bank robbery. Offa Bank robbery. How poor services led to pregnant woman son's death. Death stared us in the face, says survivors. Survivor, okay, says survivor. Destruction was enormous. Olofa of Ofa. We lost 9 men, say police, as death toll rises. Escaped robbers killed 2 mobile policemen in Osho. Please capture the story on pages 2 and 4. Stepping down, we meet APC leaders at war over Oyegu's future. Lalong submits technical committee's report. That story is on page 5. Alleged looters list. Seconders sues Lai Mohammed for 1.5 billion naira. All right? Go to page 6 and get the rest of this very interesting story. Remember, Seconders had threatened to sue Lai Mohammed, the Information and Culture Minister. Go to page 6 for more of this story. And by the side there is Ojikalo visits Oni, Blas Obasanjo. And I read, former governor of Abia State, Dr. Joseph Carlo, second left, Oni of Ife, Obadeye Onito, Ugushi, second right, flanked by retired Rear Admiral Akin Aduwo, left, and former chairman of Ecobank, Chief John Odeyemi, right, during Carlos P's advocacy visit to the monarch in Ile-Ife, Osho State. And this happened yesterday. And the last on the front page of the Saturday Telegraph, $1 billion military equipment, $1 billion military equipment. Buhari will seek NAS approval, says Shehu. That story continue on page 6. And let's go to the back page. The back page of the Saturday Telegraph, we have tourism. Government should identify efforts to get investors for Yankari Game Reserve, says Maman. And on quote of the day, Leonardo da Vinci, we are hearing it says, poor is a pupil who does not surpass his master. That's a nice one, Leonardo da Vinci, and that takes us as we meet perspective on Born Again Mantu and INEX appeal. On Born Again Mantu and INEX appeal. Please, that story is on page 46 for more of that very intriguing one. And stepping down, we are meeting Manchester Derby. Moriho Gadiello Moriho Gadiello rekindle tactical battle. All right, Moriho Gadiello rekindle tactical battle. All right, and these are the faces of Moriho and Gadiello here. All right, and that does it for our Saturday Telegraph this morning. We'll continue to say that there's no overdose to knowledge. The more we read, the more informed we are. And that is why we urge you to go or rush down to your nearest vendor and grab all of the copies of the dailies. When you discuss, you find out you are discussing based on facts and not based on rumors or hearsay or what you think, but on what is stated fact. All right, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. We'll go for a break, and when we get back, it will be time for us to discuss. And this morning, like I said earlier, we'll continue on yesterday's topic of the court asking Baribe to produce an Nnamdi Kanu or forfeit his 100 million naira bail bond or go to jail. Join us then, and let's have your bit on the topic. Do stay tuned.
Good morning, Abia, your one-stop breakfast show on TV.
All of my life, I've been searching for the words to say how I feel. I'd spend my time thinking too much and leave too
For inquiries and booking, contact Address Hotel and Suites at number 18 Opobo Road, Obo Hill, Aba. Telephone 081 000 00895 or 081 000 00896. Address, the pride of hospitality and tourism.
Have you heard of Prescal Gold and Heaven Options Limited? Prescal is a home of the red image right here in Abia. Why go to Lagos or Port Harcourt for your direct image jobs? Come to Prescal Gold and Heaven's Options located at number 145 Azikwe Road, Abia for perfect cover page, journals, magazines, brochures, and flyers. We also offer printing services in digital flex and billboard, window graphics, posters, stickers, heat transfers, ID cards, complimentary cards, monogram, and car branding. Heaven Options offer you entertainment services like event management, ambulance services with well-dignified undertakers. We can also boast of 3 months ordinary program in computer training, 6 months certificate in computer training, and 1 year advanced certificate in computer training. Why not visit Prescal and experience that quality jobs? For inquiries, call 080-3322-6115, 070-4024-7196, 070-8469-8165.
Non-stop breakfast show on TV.
Hello, good morning. This is Breakfast with Bill.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Zoraida Samble, and it is 5 a.m. here in the East, so let's get started.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Early Start. I'm John.
Bonjour, Gwendoline de
The Centers for Disease Control today issued a health warning following a worldwide outbreak of a mysterious form of pneumonia.
The highly contagious virus, SARS, killed nearly 300 people.
8,500 people around the world have come down with SARS.
The World Health Organization has declared a swine flu pandemic.
Spread of the H1N1 swine flu.
The outbreak is spread widely and cannot be contained.
I think we can contain the spread of this
Influenza pandemics must be taken seriously.
A big outbreak of the deadly Ebola virus has killed more than...
The Ebola outbreak that started in the West African country of Guinea has now spread.
Our people know nothing, there's no cure.
They don't have the resources to actually contain.
Governments around the world are considering new measures.
And I'm calling from the New York City Health Department.
Temperature reading from last night.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture confirmed another case of bird flu.
1.5 million state turkeys have been killed to prevent the spread of AIDS.
It is really critical that they control this.
You have to respond to the challenge.
3 latest victims of the new respiratory virus called MERS have come from Middle Eastern countries. They believe it originated in bats or camels.
It causes pneumonia and rapid kidney failure.
As the Zika virus continues to infect people across the globe.
The outbreak started in Brazil, suspected link to severe birth defects.
Zika typically is transmitted through mosquitoes.
When the weather starts to warm up, more of those mosquitoes could start coming north.
Because I believe there is such a thing as being too late.
There is a growing concern that it's possible.
Our home. You can almost hear the biological chatter. Just when technology and science were supposed to make us safer, we suddenly seem more vulnerable to outbreaks.
Whether we like it or not, our world is globalizing ever more. And that's not only true for markets and for production, but it's also true for behaviors, for diseases. So we're more vulnerable because of our mobility. Secondly, we're far more people, and we're also living more and more in very crowded cities. That's fantastic from the perspective of a virus, because in no time it can infect hundreds of thousands of people.
Over the last 3 decades, there have been about 30 newly emerging diseases that have the potential to be pandemics. If we do nothing, it's not a matter of if there will be a global pandemic. It's just a matter of when and which virus and how bad.
The world changes around us at increasing speed. We cause a lot of that change. Migrating into cities, stripping the earth of its resources, and altering primeval jungle.
We are seeing whole entire ecologies, that which you can see with your eye and that which you can only see with a microscope. One system after another, completely reshaped. Is there a sense? In every case, this affords opportunities for viruses and bacteria to seek out new homes, cause new havoc, including disease for human beings.
When contagion happens, life alters in an instant. We don't feel safe. We lose trust.
Fear spreads very quickly when you have an infectious disease outbreak. Communication is so much more pervasive. People know what's happening in another part of the world so much more quickly, so much more vividly than ever before. So the contagion of fear moves faster than the contagion of the pathogen, the disease itself, and the fabric of society starts to deteriorate.
There's something that destroys the soul of a community that happens when an epidemic is out of control. It's not just the large number of casualties and the deaths, which are itself unthinkable, but it's what it does to the social fabric of a community or a nation.
The war lasted for 14 years. I was quite little, but I still remember vividly everything that I saw. Sometimes you're playing at night when the place is dark, you can see these bullets flying like bolts of lightning across the sky. You physically see them. My father would bundle all of us up, and we hear the opposite direction. Huh? You know the bullets are coming from this way because you hear the sound coming. And you see the soldiers going that way to go and fight it. So you know you have to go the other way. But look at Ebola. How are you going to protect yourself? You have an enemy you cannot hide from. You cannot run from Ebola. Where are you going to go? Who are you going to run to?
We got confirmation yesterday that you are positive with Ebola virus. It is here.
Ebola is transmitted through bodily fluids, saliva, blood, urine, feces. This is an invisible foe.
Ebola first surfaced in West Africa in a remote rural community. But in our increasingly connected world, this Ebola outbreak didn't stay in the countryside. The virus quickly found its way to the region's largest cities and health systems that were completely unprepared.
I graduated from med school 2 years ago. The reason why I'm here is by default because I was the only one available. I'm a general practitioner, and I got one-day training to get prepared for this.
Mohammed Kamara, come sit down for me. Momo.
When we started admission on August 17, the following morning, there were ambulances lined up at the gates. And to tell you the truth, we're not prepared.
Tell your ambulance to come. 1, 2, 3, 4 patients going.
Before we even knew it,
No, wait.
we're already overwhelmed with so many patients.
How many patients you got on board? We can't take 4. We just took 7. We have only 9 spaces. So I will take 1 or 2 and go check if I can create space. I'll take the other 2. If no way, you have to take them away.
It used to give me that impression I was in Hades. Because it was a makeshift structure. The patients are vomiting, bleeding, and having diarrhea on the floor. Among them, you'll see 2, 3 persons have already died and the bodies are still there, awaiting removal. In 3 days' time, the entire unit was full. Meanwhile, there were still patients waiting outside the gate. And they are begging. Every time we go to the gate, they are begging to come in.
It's a serious situation. We have 35 beds and already have 71 patients on the ward. That means 50% of the patients are lying on the floor. There's no space on the floor to put a mattress any longer.
You don't have beds, but you're facing a group of people who are dying. You know they are dying. You see they are very sick, they're so weak. But what if they go home? What about the taxi cab these patients are going to ride to go home to die? Everyone in the taxi gets infected. Then what about the home, the community these people go into? So maybe we should just open the gate and let them come and lie on the floor to die.
Open the gate!
So we just open the gate and just let them in, sometimes 16 persons, sometimes 20 persons. And we'll be there for 3, 4, 5 hours trying to give them fluids, antibiotics, and other medicines. And then it never ends. As you are walking out, a new patient is walking in. And then when you go home and come back the following morning, there are 7, 8 deaths overnight.
I think we all underestimated, absolutely everybody. I know that 1 case of Ebola is an emergency. Every new case can give rise to more cases. So it's really act now or pay later.
Right now, the World Health Organization and other doctors are saying it is out of control in this area of West Africa. It's the worst outbreak ever that they've recorded in this part of the world.
It's unprecedented for several reasons. 1, first time in West Africa that we have such an outbreak. Secondly, this is the first time that 3 countries are involved. And thirdly, it's the first time that we have outbreaks in capitals, in capital cities.
This could explode into a really mega crisis.
I think so, and it is already a mega crisis. I really thought, how can this epidemic be controlled in the usual way when there are so many outbreaks in different places? The 3 countries in West Africa that are affected by the Ebola outbreak have some of the worst health indicators in the world. There are not enough doctors, there are not enough nurses. It is a system that is understaffed, underfunded, and where the infrastructure is very, very old.
Let's go back to 1976 when you were a younger man and you actually co-discovered this virus. It was in Zaire,
yes,
now the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
And they said that there was a mysterious epidemic. This was very lethal, high mortality. There were nuns who had died. A small group would go to the mission where the epidemic had started, apparently. They asked for volunteers, and I think I was about the first one to raise my hand. Although I had absolutely zero experience in doing this.
Mesdames, Messieurs, ensuite nous poursuivons nos programmes avec un documentaire à l'hôpital de Yangon.
Our mission was to, one, to put in place some basic measures to contain it, and using quarantine, that's what we thought. And two, to find out how is this transmitted. Because that's the key to stop epidemics, to know exactly what the risk is, how is it transmitted. It's really a detective work. So we tested whole villages, talked to the population, and then have a very primitive questionnaire. How old, where have they been, have they traveled? And what we found was that there were very few survivors, very few, and that indeed so what we call case fatality rate was over 90%. Nearly all new viruses come from animals. I mean, we're also an animal. We're, human primates. So during the outbreak, we started collecting samples from all kinds of animals. I even took blood from pigs because a number of pigs had died at the beginning of the epidemic. So we said, you never know. But we didn't find any trace of Ebola. My boss at the time, Stefan Patijn, had always told me, watch out for the bats. And it became a bit of a joke. But the old man was right, because the only reservoir that we think where Ebola is hiding are some kind of fruit-eating bats.
When I was a child, I really liked to read all these, science fictions. I realized science is really fantastic. You can't find something new. So this is why I'm working on emerging and re-emerging bacteria and viruses. I think for the Ebola, when you put all the data together, the transmission routes or cycle is clear. So definitely it's from bats. And then you have an intermediate host. It could be some mammals in the African region, and then to the human beings. I could also be directly from bats to humans. You can see Ebola, SARS, and MERS, all these viruses, they are from bats. So bats is a very serious problem.
If we look around the world, we can see that bat populations are being severely stressed by climate change. Some of them because they live in the upper tiers of rainforests and feed on wild fruit. But the upper tiers of the rainforests are getting the most impact of this heat increase and increased UV radiation. Add to that humans are encroaching into the rainforests, into bat habitats, precious caves. They're very shy creatures. They do not seek you out, no matter what vampire movies you ever saw. As humans encroach, we see more and more bat populations starving and coming into human habitation areas to feed on our agricultural production. And in the process, they're passing their virus on to other animals and to humans. We are imposing changes in the microbial world willy-nilly, thoughtlessly, and we do so at our peril.
We have dramatically increased our contact with animals in a variety of ways. Through deforestation, industrialization of agriculture, and vastly increased consumption of animals. HIV spread out of Africa from a few monkeys and chimpanzees to infect millions of people on every continent. SARS jumped from a bat to a civet cat to a villager in China to more than 30 countries in a matter of weeks. Animal and human health are completely linked. In the 21st century, 75% of all new infectious diseases have come from animals. Sometimes directly, in other cases through intermediaries like mosquitoes.
If anyone had sat down and done, a fantasy hit parade of emerging diseases that might come to the Americas from Africa or from Asia, Zika would never have even been on the list. Zika virus originated in Africa and had never been off the African continent until it started making its way across Asia and South Pacific, ending up in French Polynesia and Yap. Yap is a small place that most people have never heard of, but when Zika hit it, 70% of the population got infected. That was really quite startling if anybody had been paying attention.
But they weren't. Zika jumped from the South Pacific to Brazil in 2013, 2 years before it was identified there. The timeline corresponds to an increase in travel between the South Pacific and Brazil, including visitors who attended a pre-World Cup soccer tournament, the Confederation Cup.
Someone was carrying the Zika virus, and some mosquitoes bit that individual, absorbed the virus, and that's the beginning of this saga. And then undoubtedly, the El Niño weather event provided the necessary ingredients, rainfall and drought, that fundamentally changed the conditions on the ground and allowed for the spread of this virus.
Na frente de casa tem também o esgoto a céu aberto, porque nós não temos saneamento. Só tem mato e muito pernilongo. Foi por isso que ficou fácil para que eu pegasse. Pegar ele para fazer o almoço dele. Pode ficar aqui, Amanda. Não sei. João Guilherme nasceu com microcefalia.
Tá com o pulmão cheio de novo?
De novo. Ela disse que ele continuasse assim, eu levasse ele para emergência. A parte mais difícil, primeiro, foi quando ele nasceu. Porque quando eu vi o meu pitoquinho desse tamanho, com a cabeça toda enrugada, eu choro 1.500 vezes. Foi? Deus tocou meu coração, foi amor imediato. Tudo tá girando em torno dele. Quando eu olho pra ele, quando ele ri, quando ele levanta a cabeça, é muito intenso, é muito diferente, porque minhas filhas, eu sabia que elas iam me dar isso naturalmente. E João é uma busca muito grande para que ele pegue um objeto, para que ele olhe para você, né? Para tudo. Cadê a mamãe? Olha. Pega o brinquedo. Aqui. Sim. Pega o brinquedo. Pega. Sim, coisa linda. Que coisa mais linda. Assim. Segura. Sim, segurou.
In 2015, the Zika virus suddenly spread across Brazil, primarily through the bite of one type of mosquito. The medical establishment only began to comprehend Zika's danger as the number of babies born with the birth defect microcephaly started to dramatically increase.
No meio de setembro, e começaram, num dia só eu cheguei a ver 3 pacientes com microcefalia. E a partir daí eu comecei a ver, toda semana tinha pelo menos um caso de microcefalia. Foi quando eu passei um WhatsApp para o grupo de neuropediatras. Pessoal, estamos notando um aumento de casos de microcefalia. Se vocês estiverem notando também em outro serviço, provavelmente a gente vai tentar investigar. Então, a partir daí, a gente começou a acompanhar essas crianças e aí o volume, a cada semana, começou a aumentar. De repente, você ter... Aqui no nosso centro, a gente tem acompanhando em torno de 200 novos casos. Eu nunca tinha passado por nenhuma situação de epidemia tão grave em que acometesse uma população de uma maneira tão rápida e grave.
Sim, princesa. Valentina. Ei.
Microcefalia é o que a gente vê. O bebê nasce e a gente vê que a cabeça é pequena.
Tá 36 agora. Eu vou botar no gráfico ali pra você ver. Pode pegá-la.
A doença em si é uma coisa muito maior do que isso.
Não tem medo de reflexo voltado.
Isso é o quadro que a gente vê que chama mais atenção, ou seja, um comprometimento cefálico na medula e um comprometimento ocular.
Since the alarm went sounding around the world from Brazil, we have seen almost every day another revelation about this virus. What we now know is that this is a very dangerous virus. We grossly underestimated it. It is malaria in that it is transmitted by mosquitoes and can cause enormous outbreaks. It is HIV in that it is sexually transmitted. And it's worse than all of the above as we come to understand what this virus actually lives on. Where does the virus go in a pregnant woman?
The Zika virus affects its victims in a completely different way from the Ebola virus. What they share in common is how fast they can move, randomly attacking some while sparing others. Some epidemics grab our attention, while others, in spite of the larger number of victims, remain more hidden.
Minnesota. It's a beautiful town. When we moved here, it just felt okay.
I think we got lucky. The good Lord just gave us 2 good kids.
Shannon, she's a complete surprise. Sarah was almost 16, and I was 40. She was a joy. Right from the get-go, she was a joy for everybody.
We were a tight family.
First time out by herself. Oh my gosh.
I remember when she got a permit, she was just so tickled.
She goes by herself.
So I was so proud of her.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Somebody's driving.
Hi, girl. Oh, hi.
Shannon was in her senior year of high school.
She came home Wednesday night, said, I think I got the flu at school.
That was Wednesday, and Thursday she just seemed to be baseline for being sick. But she wasn't getting better. And that's when Terry and I agreed that we've got to take her.
When I took her that Sunday to go to the hospital, we waited 2 hours. It was that packed. That's when I knew there was a big epidemic of flu going on. And she's sitting next to me, and she's got her head on me. And I took a selfie, sent it to her mom, saying we're still waiting.
The doctor said it was just the flu, that it had to run its course. They gave her some cough medicine just for comfort. And Terry went and got it. Well, I got her back up in her bed.
Good morning, Abia, your one-stop breakfast show on TV.
You're welcome back. You're welcome back to our breakfast program. Good morning, Abia, from MCL Television. And remember, I said earlier before we went on that break for that documentary that we are going to be treating the topic of yesterday, where we talked about the court asking Abaribe telling Abaribe to produce Nnamdi Kanu, or he's going to forfeit his 100 million naira bail bond or go to jail. I will want to sample the opinion of all cross-section of people watching from wherever you are watching. We want you to join us very soon, because there'll be a number on the screen with which you can call and tell us what you think or ask any question. I have right here in the studio two gentlemen who are going to be doing justice to this very topic. By my immediate left, I have Chief Judu Dachara, who is a senior special advisor to the governor on trade and investment. So thank you for coming on the program. Good morning.
Good morning, Navians. Morning, Cynthia.
All right. By my extended left, also we have the face you saw yesterday, the face of a legal luminary in the person of the barrister S.A. Duru. Sir, good morning. Thank you for coming on the program.
Good morning, Madam Moderator. Welcome, Abians.
All right, for the benefit of those of us that were not here yesterday or watched the program, let's take a very brief background to the topic. As we read out yesterday, that the Federal High Court in Abuja on Wednesday adjourned till June 26th to enable Enyina Bariba, People's Democratic Party, PDP, Senator from Abia State, and two others to produce leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, P.O.B. Nnamdi Kanu, Abaribe Emmanuel El Shalom, a Jewish high priest, and Tochukwu Uchendo, a chartered accountant who stood surety for Kanu and to produce him in court or risk jail. Binta Nyako, the trial judge, fixed the date after the court had ordered the prosecution to serve the sureties with an earlier order of court. The order demanded the sureties to appear in court and explain the whereabouts of Kanu or show cause why they should not forfeit their 100 naira bail bond. Their 100 million naira bail bond. At the resumed hearing, counsel to the sureties observed that the court order had not been served to his clients to enable them to prepare their defense. Chukwuma Ome, counsel to Abaribe, whose submissions were adopted by the others, urged the court to direct that an enroll order be issued and served on his client by the prosecution. He said this was in the spirit of fair hearing as enshrined in Section 36 of the 1999 Constitution. The prosecuting counsel, Shuaibu Labaran, prayed the court to discountenance the submissions and proceed with the business of the day. He said the business of the day was for the sureties to show cause why they should not forfeit their bail bond. In a brief ruling, however, Nyako ordered that the sureties be served an enroll order for the court to show cause why their bail bonds should not be forfeited. Part of the ruling was that in the alternative, the sureties should produce Kanu in court or go to prison. The prosecution had, in an application, asked the court to order the 3 sureties to produce Kanu following his failure to appear in court after he was granted bail. Kanu is facing a 4-count amended charge preferred against him and 4 others whose trial had since been separated from his. In a ruling on April 25, 2017, Nyako had admitted Kanu to bail after he spent over 1 year in detention. Abaribe and the 2 others entered an undertaking to produce Kanu before the court to face his trial by standing as sureties for him. Kanu had since then not attended the trial, and his counsel, Ifeanyi Ejiofor, insisted that the whereabouts of the proscribed IPOB leader remained unknown after the military attacked his home in Abia in 2017. Gentlemen, watching, listening, hearing, this is a background to the question, to the topic. We want you to join us very, very soon with the number on the screen soon to display. Call us and ask your questions and come up with your input. All right, but first of all, let me go to the council. Barrister Duru, you heard what I read just like yesterday. Okay, can you tell us what could be the very implications of these things written out here?
It is, thank you. It is the constitutional right of every Nigerian to take another Nigerian or even a foreigner who is facing trial in Nigeria on bail by standing as a surety. It is not an offense for somebody to agree to take a fellow human being on bail and sign a recognizance for him to forfeit a certain amount of money in case he fails, refuses, or neglects to appear in a subsequent trial. Bail is a threshold issue. A person released on bail is granted bail to enable the court secure his appearance to take his trial. It's not as if court is doing a person a favor by granting him bail. It's a constitutional right of every Nigerian tried under the criminal justice system to be granted bail pending his taking his trial. Particularly where there are special, if it's in capital offenses like treasonable felony for which Nnamdi Kanu is being tried, it's a special circumstance to be considered by court in considering bail for the accused person in capital offenses where the accused person has remained 1 year in custody without trial, without bail, nothing. The court is then, it constitutes a special circumstance that will weigh in the mind of the court in considering to release that accused person on bail. Having said that, bail is granted in terms of terms and conditions of bail. It is legally wrong to grant a man bail which serves as a punishment to him with stupefying conditions. In fact, the bail granted to Nnamdi Kanu is unconstitutional because it contains conditions that are arm-twisting. But despite the despicable nature.
Excuse me, Sam.
Yes?
Sorry. Please, would you explain more? Why did you said that the bail granted to Nnamdi Kanu is unconstitutional?
It's unconstitutional.
Would you please come on?
Because of the terms and conditions.
Okay.
I've been in practice for 27 years. But I've not seen that kind of bail condition in my life. Even in reported cases in Australia, common law jurisdictions, civil continental jurisdictions, I've not seen that kind of bail before. Even if it is a bail granted to Hitler, it wouldn't have been up to that condition. The known Hitler is a known Jewish exterminator that killed more than 6 million Jews in gas chambers. If he were to be alive facing his trial, asking for bail, that bail condition given to Nnamdi Kanu will be greater than the bail condition that will be given to Hitler. I've not seen such a thing before. Yet the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. I'm coming. Now, bail conditions is to be tailored towards allowing the accused person to go on bail to secure his appearance to take his trial. That's all. Bail should not be given as a punishment. Read Bamayi versus State, Abacha versus State, Jegede versus State. We which other one? There are plenty of authorities. We don't want to belabor the obvious here. Bail should be given conditions, palatable, fulfillable conditions. But despite the harshest conditions of that bail, it was fulfilled because people want to see justice done. Because justice ought to be done and should be manifestly and undoubtedly seen to be done. So the conditions of bail were fulfilled. Now the man was let out on bail. Then there is now a novus actus intervenis. There is a novus actus intervenis. What is it? Don't panic. Novus actus intervenis is a new factor which intervenes, then discharges the contract. It's called sometimes force majeure, act of God. If I contract with you to sing for you on Saturday next week, and on Friday next week I lose my voice, then the contract is discharged, not by breach, but by a novus actus intervenis, which is a force majeure. I say I contract my hotel to you to hold a wedding ceremony. A day before the wedding ceremony in my hotel, the roof of the hotel is blown away by a wind, a storm, a mighty storm. Then I cannot be expected to honor that contract to let out my hotel to you because the substratum of the contract is no more there. The basic foundation of the contract is discharged by a natural cause. Then I'm not to be blamed. Applying this analysis to this situation we have on hand, you grant a guy bail, he's staying JJ in his house in Omaya, and then you say he should not cough, he should not sneeze, he should not urinate, he should not blink his eyes, he should not have a handshake with more than 2 people. These are all conditions. But he's a human being. He inadvertently, because his sociability is in the very nature of man, because man is a social animal. So he did this, and then they sent without any. You see, Nigerian people don't think. How I wish reasonable people are made to be the advisors of the government. If I were to be the advisor or the Attorney General of the Federation, I would have told the president not to send troops to Nnamdi Kanu. It was about a week or 2 before his resumed trial. What we would have done is to allow him issue press conferences, address crowd. If I will attend the clap for him, then after some time, wouldn't he appear in court? He will appear in court to take that trial. We cancel his bail, and from that court, take him back to custody. That will be a sensible option open to them. To send 10,000 troops for one man, to get him arrested, killed, or destroyed, or everything. We don't know where he is, according to what they're saying. He ran away, and then forcing a fiat accompli. They forced a fiat accompli upon the throat of his shorty and upon themselves. Because if you give me a person on bail and then turn around and go behind and kill him, then I cannot be compelled to produce him, because there has been a novus actus intervenis preventing me to honor the conditions of the bail I undertook, the conditions of the recognizance I undertook to take.
All right. If all these things should be the case, why isn't the Abaribe's counsel pleading this in court? But I'll still get back to that. Chief Udachara, you heard what I read out, and you heard what Barrister Duro has explained. From a layman's
it's a technical area.
There is a technical issue, but from a layman's point of view,
since you are not a legal,
I mean, we all understand the legally intrigues. Really, morally, I mean, the federal government has no right morally demanding Abaribe to produce Nnamdi Kanu in court, because the last Nigerians heard about Nnamdi Kanu was that the military invaded his house in Umuahia, and that's the last. So, until date, there's been that question. The whole international media, where is Nnamdi Kanu? Fact. And when people ask where about Nnamdi Kanu, they're not even asking Abaribe, those who took him on on shorty, on bail. But they're rather asking the federal government, and they are justifiably so asking the federal government to produce him. So Justice Nyako ought to be very sensitive about the further trial of Nnamdi Kanu, and also demanding Abaribe and the Jewish priests, the Jewish the prelates to produce him. I think the best that should happen, or ought to have happened now with the trial of Nnamdi Kanu, is to just adjourn that case sine die, and we wait until he's seen somewhere or he resurfaces. Then we can then talk about the trial of Nnamdi Kanu. You can't try somebody, people assuming he's dead, because if Nnamdi Kanu had run away to any other country, by now we ought to have seen him somewhere. He's such a popular person, he's such an internationally known personality that it's not possible he could be hiding anywhere without being seen by the public or celebrated by the public. So the federal government should really be, the judge should be seen as being unbiased, about Nnamdi Kanu. So for me, they shouldn't make the shorties suffer.
Unnecessarily.
The barrister was very, very correct in his analysis, legal analysis, even moral persuasions. Morality demands that.
Okay, like I asked before.
Everybody shouldn't be made to suffer, because federal government should have waited out for the date of the trial. As simple as that. So why go invade the house of someone who is supposed to appear in court the next week?
I know most of the lawyers we brought here on this topic previously, a related topic, have said that the federal government unconsciously shot themselves on the leg. But now I want you, going from what you explained, Barrister Juru, would you, why all you've explained, we have Abaribe's counsel there handling the case. Why hasn't he pleaded this kind of all you've explained?
Well, my dear sister, advocacy is like a wrestling tactics.
All right.
Everybody has his wrestling tactics. The way to juggle things and do things. The people may not be gifted with the gift of that, or as such as to make such powerful submissions. And then, but in law these days, we don't talk too much again. Everything is put in written submission. Yes. You put down your submission, you submit it to court. The Supreme Court gives us 2 minutes to adumbrate. Oral adumbrate and amplification. You can't say more than 2 sentences. Yes, Mr. Drew, I've had you, then take a day. The days of long, prolonged, protracted, drawn arguments and advocacy and showmanship before the court is over in this country.
So now you read
a person can now then address the court on 3 adjournments. Move his wig and gown this way, and then move his shoulder this way. No, you don't do that. You put up your submissions in writing, file it, and then adopt it. Then Supreme Court gives you 2-3 seconds, not even minutes, to say 1 or 2 things which is not contained in their oral amplification. So legal war, legal battles are now won and lost in paper, in writing. Even as much as you know how to talk, you can also know how to write. Put these things down and persuade the court. Let me tell you, the very idea of justice is rooted in confidence. This confidence shall be shaken, perhaps even destroyed, if the litigants go away saying that the court was biased. This is now a clarion call on this justice to stand out in the crowd of injustice. Hold his head high. And because law is not interested in sentiments. The only option open to her now, if I were her, is to cancel the bail of Nnamdi Kanu, discharge any Abaribe from the obligations, issue a bench warrant against Nnamdi Kanu to search for him. Anywhere he's brought, he should be brought back to the court to face his trial.
Okay.
Look at the procedure now. Case comes up before me, accused person is called up. Because of the facts, I know the fact is ubiquitous, it has general knowledge, in fact, it is everybody knows about this fact of Nnamdi Kanu's disappearance, so to say. So the court should take judicial notice of it. If I were in the court, I would say, having seen what happened so time, having seen that Nnamdi Kanu is nowhere to be found, the shorty not being able by the supervening circumstances to produce it, I hereby cancel his bail and they discharge the shorties, bench warrant to issue against Nnamdi Kanu. Police, Army, Navy should look for him, produce him before me. Matter is hereby adjourned, Senedai, pending the production of Nnamdi Kanu. I've written a ruling. I can write anything. And if she wants a ruling, I'll write and send to her. Right. She will rule like that. And everywhere will be quiet. The idea of calling an innocent man, looking for him, trying to kill him, forfeiting his bail, putting him on the prison and all that, this is also replete. The entire drama is replete of the stepmotherly attitude which Igbos receive from Nigeria. The same injustice that has been there since 1966 is still here today.
All right, thank you very much, Duru, for that. I will hope the right ears and the right eyes are watching and the right ears are listening to all these submissions from Barrister Duru. We hope that the Nigerian judiciary continue to represent the last hope of the common man. But there appears to be a kind of, like most Nigerians have come out to say, that there's a kind of shadows hovering around the Nigerian judiciary. Do we still have confidence in the Nigerian judiciary? Can a common man go there and come out unscathed with his justice, without anyone snatching it from him, without the high and the mighties trampling on the feet of those? All right, that is the next question. But even as we tend to want to ask the Chief Judo Dachara, we want you out there to join us on this discussion. Go ahead. The number there is on the screen. Call us and come up with your opinion or tell us what you think or ask your questions. All right, Chief Judo Dachara, I want you to tell Abians and non-Abians watching, what do you think with the way things are happening in Nigeria? Do you still feel that the judiciary will remain, even in the next 10 years in Nigeria? Will it remain the last hope of the common man, or will it be stampeded by the high and the mighty?
The judiciary will remain the last hope of the common man. I mean, all over the world, even in communist countries, the judiciary is still out there to protect the last hope. And here in Nigeria, is a shrine in our constitution. The judicial arm will always have the last say in any matter, especially in a matter of such let's say, political nature. Nnamdi was a prisoner of conscience. He spoke out for what he believes, him and his colleagues, even though the way and manner he went about it was so vociferous. But at the point at which he accepted to be taken on bail, it was like, for even the country, it was a desirable relief for everybody in Nigeria that he finally accepted to go on bail, with whatever such hard conditions. Because it's a big embarrassment that somebody could be held for 1 full year without trial. First they wanted to try him in camera, and then they decided to go public, open trial, and then the embarrassment each time he came out to court, the things he said, about the president, about Nigeria, becoming a big embarrassment to the whole nation. So at the point he decided to be taken on bail, it was like he called for like a concession, It was like they reached out to him, and then he decided to back down. I was thinking the government would have leveraged on that and just died the matter. The question still is, where is Nnamdi Kanu? And at the end of the day, the onus, the duty, the tax to provide for every Nigerian still rests on the federal government. So it's still a question that this current government needs to answer. Nigerians need to tell us where is Nnamdi Kanu.
Where is Nnamdi Kanu? The question hanging in the air. I'm sorry, sir. Sorry to interject you. Let's take this one call. Hello? Good morning. Hello, good morning. Thank you for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your name and your location, please.
Calling from Abia.
Oh, good morning, Dedezeji. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Please, what's your opinion on the topic?
Okay, question. Judiciary is common decent for common person. That is workshop of common man. It's where the judiciary is given fair.
We're sorry, we lost that call. We
ask Abaribe definitely cannot answer that question as it is.
He lacks the technical know-how.
I can't answer that. So, I mean, there's no point asking to produce Nnamdi Kanu. If Army hadn't invaded Umuahia, definitely Abaribe will have produced Nnamdi Kanu.
Okay, sir, let's take the second call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling in. Please, your name and location. Hello?
How are you?
Please, we would like to appeal to whoever owns this line and keeps calling in on our program. This is not a child's play. Please stop calling into this program. This is making it the fourth time this line keeps calling, and it's a kid who really makes one funny move. Please do not call this line anymore. All right, please go ahead and call us. If you have anything reasonable to say, call us and we'll pick your call. Okay, let's take this second one. Hello? Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Yeah. What the other man that is wearing white is saying, I so much love the way he's following the discussion.
All right.
The problem is that sometimes we see the truth and we don't want to believe that this is the truth. The army is the division that's supposed to produce that man, not the shorty and those that that is the problem we have here. Like what we are saying here, if the next 10 years or thereabouts now, this year will no longer be the last hope of man in Nigeria here. So let us, when we do this, let us focus on the truth. And that is what will help us and take us to in this conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You asked the question.
Yes.
Whether in the next 10 years,
in the 10
the judiciary will be the last. Should we still continue to, or should we still remain with the two legs standing as the last hope of the common man? Let me come to that question. Unfortunate, most unfortunate, from the first constitution, right from the Richards Constitution to this 1999 constitution which we are operating now, the judiciary has always been provided for as the third estate in the democratic equation. Third estate, even when constitutional provisions are suspended, the judiciary remain. The only thing that happens is that there's a decree saying that that aspect of the suspension of the constitution should not be brought to question before the court of law. But even at that, justices are known to have the right to interpret whether they have jurisdiction to have jurisdiction. Then in the course of interpretation of that, they will overrule that rule that says that they don't have jurisdiction and they take up jurisdiction. They have the power. In fact, the buck stops in front of the court of law, where civilized elements, people are. Thank God I'm not a judge, but happily, if I were one, I would have done justice in the proper way it ought to be, at the pain of even my neck. It is in this country that Shodo Inde ruled that his hands are tied. Then he convicted his king's man, Awolowo, for treasonable felony. He was serving the sentence when there was a coup and he was released. It is in this same country, the same judiciary, that Attorney General versus A.E. Lakome, where the court held that suspension of certain sections of the Constitution in a coup is valid. That is why these coup plotters had the impetus to come back again and again and again. It is in this same country that the judiciary went on record and decided that Awolowo versus Shagari, instead of finding for electoral college, they decided that they said that 2/3 of 13 states is 2/3 of 19 states is 12 and a half.
12 and
Justice in mathematics. we became the laughing stock of international community. If you are a reader.
But I thought they took a submission from the great mathematician.
No, forget about it. What a mathematician, a great mathematician can be bought over. But I'm telling you, see, an expert is an expert. According to law, an expert deposes but does not decide. Expert deposes but never decides. It's the decision-making policy lies in the judicial mind of the judges. I could have said, I've seen what the expert has said, but I will overrule him and give a decision. I will immediately, with a stroke of pen.
But that's why we now have number of states that is disabled by 2/3.
That the 2/3 of 19 states is 12 per half. I've not heard of that thing before in my life. And we became the laughing stock of international community.
Okay, sir.
It is the same judiciary.
Let's take this call. I'm sorry, we'll get back to you. Okay, go ahead. We lost the call.
Let me finish. It is the same judiciary that we are now battling with. Each time at the crossroad of history, making the judiciary, throwing it up to make an epoch decision that will shape the destiny of this country, the judiciary have let us down. Either they rule in terms of their sentiments, or they rule in terms of their state of origin, or they rule in terms of the money bag, or anything. It's unfortunate. It is in Kenya, here in Africa, that the judiciary annulled a presidential election. That will never have happened in Nigeria. A day, let that day come when the judiciary will rise up to the occasion, become the bastion of hope for the common man in this country. Then we'll move forward. In fact, politicians are meant to be afraid of the courts of law. Yes, in civilized countries, look at what is going on by Robert Mueller, the special counsel in the US. Probing is getting close to the shoe of the president, but nobody can stop him. That is institution. Strengthening of the institutions. The Minister of Justice can appoint a special counsel to investigate a special case. Nobody stops him.
All right, thank you very much.
But I think differently. In this country, the judiciary has really done.
Chief Judo,
there are few elements in the judiciary that have sympathy. That sympathize with the federal executive arm of the government. Just few. There are just very few. Majority of judges still stand firm and still defend the.
Yes,
I've not seen any of one.
Majority.
That's what I want to ask.
Not seen any quality ruling.
Since when did we begin to get it all wrong?
Right from the beginning.
The Nigerian judiciary. Previously, we know that Nigerian judiciary was impregnable.
We had very fine judges.
They were, yes,
who have distinguished themselves.
Three cannot make a progress.
Many, I say many who have distinguished themselves. A lot of us are washed with very impeccable. So many of them. So many.
Alexander, the former chief.
Okay, tell us, when did we begin to get it wrong?
Just few cases, few rulings, and more often than not, those bad cases, those bad judgments had always been also taken care of, corrected by either the appeal court or the Supreme Court. But we had fine judgments.
We want you to go by a period of history. When did we begin to get it wrong?
We've never got. We got it wrong sometimes, few times, and then a couple of. Yes, it started few cases, where
is it the current administration or the immediate past?
Immediate past, current.
At every point in time, there'll be what we call bootlegs, just like in every 12, even among the 12 apostles that Jesus appointed, there was a Judas. So among the hordes of judges, there will also be people who lean towards executive, who have sympathy for the executive and what the executive want to do,
confirming the executive recklessness as the rule of law.
So, and it will never stop.
No respect for the rule of law.
At every point in time, even when the colonists were here, when the army was in charge, there were some judges who stood up to the army and gave rulings against the army, against Federal Executive Council run by the military. So there have been courageous judges. Nigeria has had a lot of them.
All right.
Mention some of them. Let's put at them. There's so many of them.
All right, thank you very much. That is your own opinion. And let's come to Duru. Barrister, do you think along the same line with Chief Udajara? Well, the question is, when did we begin to get it all wrong from the Nigerian judiciary?
I said right from the beginning of Nigeria. There has been judges.
Right from the prehistoric times.
There have been judges who, instead of standing and getting rights, listen to the occasion, to call a spade, restore restore the right the wrong and restore the rule of law. Yeah. They recapitulate. And those judges that decapitated that time left a bad, dangerous precedent in the growth and development of the judicial system in this country. We are saying that a time has come now that the people who are appointed to the bench will be credible people, honest people, fearless people, bold, that have the qualities of judicial activism, rising to the occasion, interpreting the Constitution to bring out the true intention of the constitutional, the founding fathers of this country.
All right, so what do you think may have weakened the previously strong backbone of the Nigerian judiciary?
First of all, judiciary is a third estate. It's supposed to be independent. The relationship between the organs of government in a federating unit is that of independence and coordination. You read the Baron de Montesquieu or H.J. Lasky. These are John Stuart Mill. These are all writers that wrote on quality representative governance. What they emphasized in this their write-up is that the third estate should be independent from the executive and the legislature. Otherwise, there will be tyranny and anarchy. But a situation where judges are appointed by the president at the federal level, and at the states they are nominated by the governor, then confirmed by the NJC, and then sent to us. Then their salary is paid from the state coffers. Then they can hardly be independent. We have proposed time and time again, select judges from the bench.
But sorry, my counsel, yes. Even in the United States, the president still appoints
there's a selected.
And yet, once appointed,
they become a tiger and then disassemble themselves from us. But even at that, in Nigeria, we are not ripe for that. Round pegs in round holes, square pegs in square holes. We should the NJC, the power of NJC should be broadened to include shortlisting the judges, interviewing them, and recommending list of names for the governor to choose from, for the president to choose from. Then the payment of the salaries of the judges should be charged on the consolidated fund of this country, and not to be paid by the governor when they receive allocation. They receive allocation together with judiciary. No, judiciary should have independent posts, run their own affairs, do their own maintenance, appoint their own staff, pay their own salary, and all that. The judiciary will be truly independent.
As we have to amend the constitution to
accommodate
that.
To accommodate all this.
As it is.
Let them do all those things. Well, didn't they also propose the amendment of constitution to bring in the autonomy of the local government?
But the other states are rejecting that.
How can they reject? When 2/3 of the states, if they approve it, then that thing will take effect.
Almost all the states are turning, the state houses of assembly are turning.
Well, that is the same thing we are saying that should be done to the judiciary to ensure their independence. Do you know that a situation that will have led to anarchy could be averted by a simple 3 pages ruling by the judiciary?
Yes.
And once that ruling is handed down, everybody will bow down under it. That is the day I will come out and start laughing, dancing around as a Nigerian.
Okay, Chief Jude Udacha, do you think Nigeria is edging towards a compromised or a compromising judiciary?
I'm starting here to say that our judiciary, they've discharged their duties creditably. There have been few Judases in the judiciary, very few. And most of them don't go far. Most of them then get to the Supreme Court. My counsel here will accept that fact. And most bad judges, most bad high court judges don't ever get to the apex of the judiciary. Because once your judgment is upturned by an appeal court, it counts against you. So it's only the fine judges, who have that history of having very few of their judgments upturned by the higher court that eventually make it to the apex court. And that's the final arbiters of matters in this country. So, like I keep saying, we always keep having people appointed in the bench. who will always sell out. That is, who probably will not believe that justice belongs to God.
Okay,
there are judges, many of them who accept the fact that judgment belongs to God and should not go to the highest bidder or the most prominent person or the person who has the
powerful personality.
The most powerful personality. There are so many of them.
Okay,
people would always protect we always play that role of the last hope of man.
Okay, you have the view that the Nigerian judiciary is not making towards a very compromising.
No.
Okay, let's hear from Duro. Lastly, this is the last question I'm going to ask because of our time. Do you think the Nigerian judiciary, all that are playing out, do you think is edging towards?
We are one of the firm believers in the Nigeria project. We want Nigeria to succeed. But we are praying that God will bring that day, let that day come, where Nigerians will resolve to do proper things properly. When proper things are done properly, the results come properly. Now, what we are suggesting is that the judiciary in this country, as the third estate of the nation, has not done well. We need to sanitize the judiciary by bringing necessary amendments in the Constitution as to appointment, remuneration, promotion, and discipline to independent body, devoid of unnecessary, undue, unwarranted intervention by the executive. That's what we're saying. And the people with the probity and fear of God should be appointed to the position of justice, because fact-finding or justice is the Achilles heel of judicial process. Now, finally, what I want to say is that the judiciary should see itself as God sent, deliver innocent people, right the wrongs and the ills in the society, then by restoring the rule of law. That's what we are urging them to do. If you know you are a chicken-hearted person, you chicken out. If you are a tiger that refuses to be scared by the men in office, you come to the judiciary and deliver quality justice without fear or favor from any angle. It was in this same Africa that in the height of Idi Amin, the Chief Justice of Uganda paid with his life but gave a quality ruling. Such people, posterity will never forget them. So we like people from this country to make sacrifices to move this Nigeria forward.
All right, thank you very much, sir. We want such people to move this country forward, people who can come up with sacrificial acts and also on their own, in the execution of their job, make an exemplary good one. All right, and that is the much we can take on this topic this morning. Remember, I'll be talking about bail bond forfeiture of Abaribe over Nnamdi Kanu, who the court had asked on Wednesday to produce Nnamdi Kanu or forfeit his 100 million naira bail bond or go to jail alongside others. Okay. All right, and that's the much we've taken. We really hope you enjoyed that. We really do appreciate all of you who called. We do apologize to those of you who tried to call, but the network has been so bad. We do apologize. Next Monday, continue to try. You'll get us here on One Stop Breakfast Program. Good morning, Abia, from MCL TV. From me, Cynthia Cheme, this is what you have today. Have a lovely day ahead. But up next is Igbo program on Asalachi on Abia. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.
MCL, the world in your home.